Welcome. Let's get into a crypto market update focusing on Bitcoin and Bitcoin dominance. The last 3 weeks, we've seen some downwards price action. So I'm going to cover things from the weekly down to the daily, 4-hour, and hourly timeframes to get the full picture and talk about key levels, market structure, momentum readings, what I'm expecting next, and so on. With Bitcoin dominance, it's going to be kind of coverage for the all-encompassing alt season. So Bitcoin dominance right now has flipped into a weekly bearish structure. So we're going to go zoom into some lower time frames, talk about what's the most likely scenario going forward with Bitcoin dominance as well. But we'll start on Bitcoin for this analysis up on the weekly time frame. Before getting into the details here, quick shout out to my affiliate exchange, Bitunix. These guys are great. I've been working with them for a while. If you need a crypto exchange that's no VPN, no KYC required, so anyone can trade on this exchange globally, then check out Bitunix exchange. Thank you if you do. Now let's take a look at the weekly on Bitcoin to start things out, starting with just the basics. So market structure first. We want to know the trend. We want to know the most important level that needs to hold on the weekly time frame, right? So let's take a look. Current bullish market structure is as follows. We have the low that needs to hold on close right here at 98,200 or so. And then we had previously broken the high of this previous bullish market structure consolidation on this candle close. Now we're in a new correction in the context of weekly bullish market structure. So what does that mean? Well, it just means that the most likely scenario is that we will get continuation to the upside out of here as long as we don't close below 98.2. Okay, so that's the weekly picture. This is the level to hold on close. 98.2 is going to be where we want to see a higher low and then a higher high out of here. Okay, so things look good. The overall trend is up on the weekly time frame, most likely heading to the upside out of this current little pullback here. Now, that doesn't tell us all that much. It's not very precise. Let's go down to the daily and talk about the picture here, and we can also talk about the momentum readings if we have any hidden bullish divergence, anything that would make us believe that this may be ready to go to the upside. So first of all, daily time frame. It's the same picture as the weekly as far as the market structure goes. We are in bullish market structure. So the idea there is going to be continuation to the upside. This is the key level that needs to hold for the daily bullish market structure. And it actually just happens to be the same level that needs to hold on the weekly. So that makes this level extremely important, more important than if it was just the weekly level or just the daily level. This is both the daily and the weekly bullish market structure level that needs to hold on close. So 98.2 is that number that really needs to hold. Anything that happens from where we're at now and between that level is bullish, and it doesn't really matter how it forms. I'm just drawing some random lines in here just to show, it doesn't matter what happens here with this current correction. On the higher time frames, bullish trend, expected outcome is follow through to new all-time highs. Okay, it's going to be the most likely scenario based on this bullish market structure and the overall trend here. Okay, now let's look at the momentum for this little pullback here. We want to see hidden divergence, resetting the indicators, cooling them off, and we can see that here on RSI. We have hidden bullish divergence right here. We've reset below the 50 line after coming out of a strong momentum reading here, which also didn't build up any bearish divergence, which is a good sign. Okay, so we came out of a strong momentum reading to the upside. We're in bullish market structure, and now we've set a hidden bullish divergence right here. So higher low on price, lower low on our momentum indicator here. Can also see that TCI momentum is resetting below that 50 line, just starting to do so. And so next thing we want to start looking for is that start curling to the upside. So that's pretty much all we can look at for this daily time frame. Again, same thing, bullish market structure. We're also seeing some signs with the momentum that we may be getting ready to go for that next move to the upside. But let's go down to a lower time frame. we want to get some regular bullish divergence ideally. So let's take a look at the 4 hour. So right now with the 4 hour, we can see we came down, strong downside momentum for this time frame. We don't have bullish divergence yet. So ideally we get another push down for a new low on price that creates a higher low on our momentum indicators. So on RSI, and then for the TCI momentum here to look something like this with a higher low cross up, while at the same time, what I would want to see is price to do something like this. Lower low on price, higher low on our momentum indicators to give us that regular bullish divergence in the context of the daily and weekly bullish market structure. Okay, so that's the ideal setup that I'd be looking for. Nice bullish divergence on this 4 hour time frame coming down again. So just be prepared if we do come down lower. It's not surprising, and as I was saying earlier, there's nothing to worry about. We're still bullish even if we come much lower. So 98.2 again was that number. You can come all the way down there and it's still okay. We're still bullish. Okay. So 4 hour, let's talk the market structure here. This is different because the 4 hour, we do have bearish market structure. And let's talk about where we flipped. Covered this in the last video, and I had talked about in the last video why it was likely that we would see more downside here on the lower time frames, which now we do have more downside. We can see that the flip happened right here when we broke the level right here. So this was in bullish market structure. Then we broke that level on close, putting us into bearish market structure. We then put in a lower high right there and a lower low. So we followed through to the downside to follow this 4 hour bearish market structure. And then we did it again right here. Okay. So this is that bearish market structure that's been coming down here. And now we're in a new structure with the low being right there. The idea that I would be looking for would be one of two things. One was the one I already covered where we go down, make a new low here, put in a bullish divergence, then look for a reaction that breaks back into bullish market structure like that. Or if we don't go down to a new low here and we just go straight up, the level to break is right here. For the 4 hour market structure to get back into bullish structure, this is that level right here. Okay, so currently it sits around 119.8. Okay, 119,800. That's the current 4 hour market structure level to break on close for the 4 hour time frame to get into bullish structure. So one of two ways that I would be watching for at this moment for that to play out. Now, let's go down to the hourly and see how we're looking. We already did build up bullish divergence on the hourly, but this is quite a low time frame to go all the way out to the daily or the weekly with. So 4 hour would be kind of the minimum that I'd look for that bullish divergence on. But what we can look for is to see any signs of bottoming, which we do have that bullish divergence built up here on this hourly. Let's see if we are in bearish structure or bullish structure. Right now we are currently in a bearish structure still. We tried flipping into bullish structure here these last hours, rejected 4 candles, wicked through it. So let's see, we may break into an hourly bullish structure here if we break that high right there. And the number to break there, let's get this pulled over. Looks like it's around 114,000. So if we close an hourly candle over that level, then we flipped into hourly bullish structure, that may be an early sign that the bottom may be in there for this pullback. We can also look at other things like parallel channel, perhaps. And this would line up kind of nicely with my idea of potentially coming down again. So we may come down there, make that parallel channel whole and then put in that bullish divergence on the 4-hour and then get ready to go for that new all-time high. That's what I'd be kind of favoring right at this moment, although we'll see how it pans out. Either way, the main idea is expecting continuation to the upside. Have no idea how it will form exactly, but looking for bullish divergence, looking for signs that the bottom's in, and yeah, just looking for that next move to all-time highs is the most likely scenario at this moment due to the daily and weekly bullish market structure. So just to recap, level to hold is 98.2. That's going to be that most important level. Nothing to worry about in between here as we chop around sideways here. Just going to kind of annoy people, make people flip bias back and forth, and just not a lot you need to be doing during this period here, but just trying to wait it out, expect continuation to the upside. Now, let's go to Bitcoin dominance. So Bitcoin dominance structure did shift to a bearish weekly structure when we broke this low right here. Okay, let's just zoom in. So we broke down, we closed below this low right here. Previously, we're in a bullish market structure on the weekly for Bitcoin dominance. Now we're in a bearish structure. So this is the current structure. And the idea would be lower high and then lower low here. So continuing down because we've now flipped into a bearish structure. And also timing wise for this current market cycle, we are at the time where Bitcoin dominance tops. So we are pretty deep into this market cycle. Right around now is where we saw moves like this and moves like this. So to expect a big follow through to the downside, it seems pretty likely to me. So based on the weekly bearish structure, that's kind of the picture there. The high would be this one around 66%. That's what expecting to be a lower high. And then following through for a new low below the current low right here for a big follow through to the downside. That's the weekly outlook. Here's our daily, where we have somewhat of a 3-wave correction right at this moment. So big move down, which gave us strong momentum readings. RSI at 11.02. No bullish divergence on this move down. So very likely that we see this follow through for another down move. Okay, strong momentum, no bullish divergence, bearish structure daily and weekly. There's no reason to think that this isn't going to follow through to the downside. The signs do point towards follow through to the downside. So whether or not this is done, we can go down to a lower time frame and see maybe if it has a little more upside or not. I'm thinking that it could just follow straight through to the downside from here if this is just a completed 3-wave correction, something like this, which is pretty standard, but sometimes we get a more drawn out correction where it turns into more of a something like this before we get follow through. So not sure yet, but things do look pretty good for follow through to the downside right now as the most likely scenario. Let's look at the 4-hour. 4-hour time frame, no bearish divergence yet here. We can take a look at RSI, we can take a look at TCI momentum. There's no bearish divergence. So if we could get one more high on price with a lower high on our momentum readings like this, lower high there, bearish divergence on RSI also at that same time would be great. Something like that. This would be what I'd be looking for to kind of try anticipating a top and then follow through for that structure, that bearish structure that we're seeing on the weekly and daily. So if this were to come up like this, then I'd be looking for that next big follow through move all the way to new lows and beyond. So that's the ideal. Put in a bearish divergence. That'll give us the most clean, clear setup there. Something that's easy to anticipate. That would be the ideal. Doesn't mean it has to happen. We could just go straight down, could form in a number of ways, but just know that the overall trend is now down on the weekly and the daily. And we had a very strong momentum move to the downside, putting RSI at 11. So when we get a momentum move that strong, RSI at 11, and no bullish divergence is formed, expect follow through. Most of the time, we will get a lot more follow through when we get a momentum reading like that on RSI. It's pretty rare to hit 11 on the daily RSI. So just be prepared for a follow through move to the downside, which will be upside on altcoins. So that's what we want to see. I think most people would be happy about this dropping more, and that's going to be the anticipation here. So it's all positive news for Bitcoin and for Bitcoin dominance right at this moment. That is going to pretty much cover it for this little update. Nothing to worry about at this moment. If things start shifting and we start seeing things that are worth worrying about, then I'll make a video about it. I'll update it on X and let you guys know. But anyway, that's it for this one. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to check out Bitunix Exchange if you want to trade crypto here.